Race, and he looks pretty confident at the moment.
Yes, he only needs to finish 15th even if Klaffenbach wins. So if Klaffenbach doesn't win, they win the championship anyway. Paul Woodhead very, very confident and looking forward to celebrating tonight.
Klaus Klaffenbach will be up for this one though. Until the fat lady sings, nothing is final.
I'm sure you've got that organised for later. There on the grid, Steinhausen and Hopkinson, Travis Hopkinson. He's had a great year. He's done a lot of racing with Jörg Steinhausen. They won the German Championship. They won last time out at Imola and comprehensively beat Steve Webster. They'll be looking for a win today.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. And good Anglo-Deutsch setup here because Trevor come into it last season with Jörg and been very successful.
The only other pairing that can win today, Klaus Klaffenbach, Christian Partzer. There's Klaus having a smile because his Supersport entry is running well, either pole or second, I believe.
Yeah, pole position, and that is his first pole, so yeah, he'll be very happy with that.
Tom Hanks, Phil Biggs, this is their Windle machine, Yamaha R1 Windle. Tom thankfully putting the helmet on there for us on the grid.
Running the third engine of the weekend. I believe the motor that he actually blew up this morning was his full race motor, and what they've done is made a good one from 3.
Team manager Brian Ditchfield said that they've taken the engine from Imola that blew the head gasket. They've rebuilt that, put a new clutch in it. They're ready to go. That's their fast engine from Imola, so they'll be looking to do well.
There's the fast duo of the Dutch duo of Van Gils. They've been going very well all season, Rob, and I wouldn't put them out of the running today.
Well, I think they've only had third so far this year, but Martin and Tony really, really keen to do well.
Yeah, consistent, and they're world champion, Steve Webster, last race of the season, and Abbott's not going to win this one because he knows that he's had engine problems all weekend, even had chassis problems at some stage, which is very unusual for Abbott.
Normally you come out and say that Abbott is going to win this one, so he hasn't had too much luck this year. Maybe this is the race he'll win.
He has had some real problems this weekend, and there Darren Court, the French team, he's looking fairly confident as well.
Yes, Passenger Lane was smiling today. They're 7th again. This is their 2nd ever World Championship event. They've qualified 7th for both of them. What a record.
There he's got the oil pressure gauge on for the passenger to keep his eye on.
Bill Philp and Yoda Yendel. Yoda with the Yoda-like eyes, I'm told. We'll see him a few close-ups later on. Eyes bulging out of the helmet.
Yeah, Bill, good runner. We could see some fireworks from Bill. He puts everything into his racing. Getting into the outfit now, ready for the warm-up, where they actually take the machines around on a warm-up lap where they warm the tyres up, warm the passengers up, and warm the drivers up.
Looking back down the grid there's Adolf Harney, the veteran tough guy of sidecar racing. He's racing with Mike Rocher this year, and they've had an up and down season. Very, very consistent early, not so consistent in the last few races. But Mike is still smiling.
An unusual tie-up there, Rob, because the passenger literally owns the machine and he brings a driver in to drive it. So that is how much Adolf enjoys passengering.
Well, he has been with some of the best, although never won a World Championship. He's come second maybe 5 times in the last 7 or 8 years, and he's raced with Webster, with Klaffenbach. Who else, Norman?
With Rolf Bieland as well, I believe.
I'll let you have that. Tim and Triss Reeves just come into the championship at Brands Hatch halfway through the season as replacement riders, and Team M&M have been going from strength to strength since Brands Hatch.
Yeah, you can see the heat shield, the heat sheen there, and you were thinking it was extremely hot out there, but 17 degrees is the best we're going to get today. That will keep the machines pretty cool. The track temperature at 28 degrees is reasonably high, so they should get some good performances out of the tyres.
Yes, but it will take a few laps for those tyres to get right up to temperature, and I'm thinking we're heading for a really tight first hairpin up at the Adelaide hairpin at the top of the circuit. Yeah,
I'm sure we will, Rob, because everybody will be on the even temperature tyres, and so 30 seconds there to go before they start the warm-up lap. But yeah, everybody will be on even temperature tyres, a little bit cooler than they have been for most of the season. So yes, I'm thinking we're going to see some action.
Just preparing for the warm-up lap. The flags will be run down the grid, and Webster will take them out. He'll warm his bike up in the first half of the lap, then slow down a bit for the end, and then the mind goes to work.
Yeah, what he'll do, actually, you'll see him shoot off Steve Webster. He'll put a lot of temperature into them tyres, and what he'll do, the second half of the lap, he'll slow down so that everybody bunches up behind him, and he's not left standing on his own on the start line, waiting for the grid to form.
You see the passengers, some of them choosing to push the machine off. There's Adolf Harney, a couple of pushes with the leg. That's just to give that clutch that little tiny bit more help on the off, so that we've had some clutch problems this year.
And the other thing, of course, is as the machine's rolling, Rob, the gearbox is rolling, and they can snick it into gear, and it doesn't go in with a big crunch. And yeah, you see the more experienced ones just giving the machine a little bit of memento, and away they go.
Yes, they want to save the thrashing for the green light scenario, not the red light scenario.
The problem with the clutches on these machines, Rob, are that they literally only use them for one initial start, and away they go, and never use the clutch again usually. And this is sometimes you see the problems where the first lap or second laps cause problems, and they've had to use the clutch again, and sometimes they get clutch problems. There you can see Steve Webster now keeping everybody in a very orderly fashion, and they'll follow him onto the start grid, and the grid will soon be formed.
We're going to have a lot of action back in the pack, I feel. The second group here will be swapping places. Places 8th through 13th have qualified within half a second, so that is where the paint swapping is going to be.
There's some names to be met at this meeting, Rob. A couple of the French guys they'll have lots of family, friends, sponsors. Everybody will be here to watch the French teams, and I think we'll see some action from the French boys.
Well, we've got 5 French wildcards and 1 permanent French team. So this is like the French invasion. Normally it's a fair few Brits, half the field is Brits, a smattering of German and some Swiss.
Yeah, what'll happen here, Rob, is there's one Frenchman that isn't in this, and that's Delanois, because he turned up with a 1200cc engine, and we know the rules, it's 1000cc, and unfortunately he showed his true speed on the back of the circuit, was second quickest through, and questions were asked, and unfortunately Monsieur Delanois is no longer in the race.
Yes, well, the Del Boy not trying to put one over on everyone. He's running the legally allowed GSXR 1100 WP engine, and he's running last year's engine, which is tuned to 1200 cc's, and he was thinking that if no one checked the engine and he ran sort of midfield, maybe it would be okay for a bit of fun, but unfortunately he was a bit too fast and people asked some questions. He's done the gentlemanly thing.
Absolutely, yes, he's withdrawn. I don't think there was any tactics to run a bigger engine. He made it quite plain that he was running a big engine, and yeah, he's done the gentlemanly thing and he's pulled out.
Rolling around the circuit, we see Gatt in front of Skeen. Skeen's had some major racing lately. After Imola, the week after Imola, he went up to Jock Hill. Knock Hill is the correct name, of course. Too many jocks up there, we call it Jock Hill. Won the Jock Taylor.
Yeah, I was up there, Rob, and he won it in fine style. Beat the world champ, maybe the new world champion, Steve Webster.
Yeah, Steve Webster not going so well up there in Scotland. Freezing temperatures up there. After that, Jock Taylor, Jock Scheme went to Pembrey, and for the match races, and now he's come back here. He's raced 5 weekends on the trot. He's race fit.
Literally, Rob, I'm going to say that maybe I'm going to speak out of turn here, but Steve Webster, as soon as he's finished with this machine for the race, it goes into Tim Reeves's van, and I maybe think maybe we might not have the quickest engine in the world in that chassis. I'm not absolutely sure on this one.
Well, there it is from Norman Burgess. Rumours abound. Whether Steve Webster is playing, whether he hasn't got the quickest engine, we'll see after about 2 laps. I think he's got a quick one here. I think he wants to finish this season with his 9th title with a win.
In great style, as we call it, Rob. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he will have the quick engine in, but it just makes you wonder sometimes, Rob. Maybe not everybody's like myself, eh?
Thankfully. So the grid is formed. Great shot as we look down, 25 machines. We're looking for the lights on the top left up there. Not a problem, red lights on, revs are rising, lights out, Webster gets away slowly, Steinhausen goes around him again, heading towards the first line, but Klaffenbach has the jump. Klaffenbach leads, Steinhausen second, Van Gils straight into third. So Klaffenbach has the jump off the line, exactly what he needed to do. Back in the pack, there's a bit of a problem with LaVale, and someone's taken to the grass. And Mengay's involved as well, so the French Mengay showing a bit of style further in the pack. Klaffenbach, Steinhausen, Van Gils, Hanks, and Andy Peach has gone off. They're trying to get the Beach Peach off of the gravel track, but I think that's game over for Andy Peach unless he's got a shovel.
Yeah, that's not going anywhere, Rob, but this is a real turn-up for the books with Klaffenbach in the lead. Webster will now be watching Klaffenbach because he'll need to finish.
Yes, Klaffenbach has to win. Webster has to not finish for Klaffenbach to take the title. But Steinhausen is going to put it to Klaffenbach all through this race.
I'll tell you what it is and all, Rob. I'll bet already Steve Webster is hearing rather strange noises from that engine because it'll be all the way through the race now. He's got to finish to be world champion, and Klaus Klaffenbach has got to win it to be world champion, so anything could happen at this stage.
First bit of timing information, we have Steve Webster in 10th position. So Steve Webster, very, very uncharacteristically, 10th position. I think that's the lowest we've seen him all year.
Yeah, Jörg Steinhausen looking at Klaus Klaffenbach all the time, and I do feel that Jörg has got one of his really quick engines in, and he'll be looking at moving either under him, over him, or around him.
Tom Hanks very, very sideways early on, cold tyres, but that's Hanks' style. And behind him, Abbott and Dernancourt. Dernancourt, the French wildcard, in 7th place, just behind Phil.
Yeah, that'll be good for him there because, as I say, his friends, family and sponsors will be watching him.
Completing the first lap. That's the final chicane as we look down on. Klaffenbach leads across the line. So Klaffenbach, Steinhausen, Van Gils in 3rd, Hanks, Abbott, Philp, Dernancourt, Gatt, Rocher and Webster. Webster in 10th place.
That's unbelievable that Steve Webster in 10th place. Is Steve Webster playing a waiting game, or is Steve Webster just going for the finish? I doubt it.
Or is he just giving us something to talk about for a few laps and while he picks them off one by one? Can't see him on the screen there, but that was Tom Hanks and Phil Biggs. This very, very long uphill straight into a very, very tight hairpin. Watch the style of the machines under brakes.
Abbott have been complaining about the machine weaving under severe braking, and looks like he's just cleared that one up.
There we saw Webster staying out of trouble, but there's been a problem with Reeves, and it looks like Galros, is it? Just trying to pick up in the distance there at the top of the hill. Reeves was definitely off, and another yellow machine as well.
Yeah, I think I saw Billy Galros in the background there, Rob. I'm not sure, but yeah, look at Steve Webster still in 10th place.
Steve Webster got his nose cut off at the hairpin by Mike Rocher and Adolf Harney, but has taken them on the downhill stretch.
Yeah, still Klaffenbach leading from Steinhausen with the Van Gils. I said they're very consistently coming good now, Rob, and yeah, it's a 3rd place is a good position for the Van Gils.
Well, we saw them at Assen, the first race at Assen. We renamed them Kamikaze Van Gils after some of the moves they made, straight across chicanes and that. There's Steinhausen locking up the brakes. Big bit of smoke for Steinhausen, and Hopkinson gets through at the bottom of the hill, but he's locked up all of the brakes there and smoke pouring off. Klaffenbach, doesn't matter what Christian Parts is doing, he's getting bashed over a curb.
Yeah, it was a violent move there from Klaus Klaffenbach, and I'll tell you, Rob, that doesn't do the machine any good either, because it totally unbalances it. Not only does it unbalance Klaus, but it also unbalances the machine as well.
And unbalances Christian Partzer, I'd say. He would have jumped a foot in the air after taking a bashing from that curve.
Jörg Steinhausen is...
Here's the replay. Steinhausen under brakes, smoke coming off that tyre. That's a combination of tyres that were locking up there. I think he might have just locked the front, but most of the tyre smoke was coming from the sidecar wheel.
Yeah, because if you look at the entrance to that corner, the passenger's right over the back. There's no weight on the sidecar wheel. Not as dramatic as it looks, Rob.
Steiny had it under control and is now eking out a gap from Klaffenbach and Partzer. Claffey, I don't think, has the time to sit back and relax and wait for Steiny to slow down, because as we saw at Imola, he didn't. He took it to Steve Webster and held him out with superior speed for the whole race.
Yeah, you're not taking the lead on 2 laps, not with knowing the confidence that you've got to probably open a reasonable gap up. And Klaus Klaffenbach, you don't show Klaus your true colours unless you're absolutely confident.
Well said. So back there, Hanks and Biggs. Coming back to our leaders, Steinhausen and Hopkinson. Around the hairpins, they're very, very smooth. He was getting a fair bit of wheel spin, but not an excessive amount of wheel spin in qualifying. So getting enough spin in the tyres to keep them warm and to get drive, but not too much and lose drive.
I'll tell you what, it will going to happen here and all, Rob, with the experience of Jörg Steinhausen and Klaus Klaffenbach. Tyre wear is going to be a factor in lap 16 or 17, I think.
Yeah, but I think it's only going to be the rear tyre and only induced by the throttle, because the track temperature here is fairly cool. I don't think we're going to see excessive tyre wear under brakes, only through excessive throttle. And here's Webster about to pull out on the wildcards, Magny-Cours, but not doing it down the straight. Very, very conservative from Webster.
I think there's a problem there, Rob. The world champion to be Steve Webster has definitely got some sort of a problem, because we haven't seen Steve Webster in this position for quite a while.
Interesting you should say that. He was very, very slow off the line and rolled around for 10th place on the first lap from pole. So very, very strange. But he has got the French wildcards. He got them through the big right-hander there. So maybe I'll go against you there, Norman, and say he hasn't got a problem. He's taking it easy, making sure of the title. Very important to Steve Webster, of course, very important to anybody to win the World Championship. But only requiring 1 point from this race. Maybe we will see a conservative Steve Webster, but it's not like the Steve Webster I know. Steinhausen and Hopkinson. Hopkinson moving slowly across the passenger platform. That's been his home this year. He spent so many hours on the back, holding on, and Trevor Hopkinson has had a good year compared with the last year with Steiny. Steiny threw him off a few times last year and the year before. Yeah, he takes a good knock, does Trevor. But just looking at the top speeds there, 2:38 for Steinhausen and a 2:41 for Claffey, so maybe, and a 2:34 for Van Gils, so maybe Claffey has got something in the tank left yet. Yes, but Klaffenbach is, there's a 2-second gap there. We'll just check it again. It's the 3-second gap now. Steiny on a 47.6, Klaffenbach a 48.6. So Steinhausen lapping a second quicker than Klaffenbach at the moment. Van Gils hanging on to Claffey a bit, and this would be great if we could see Van Gils get up there. Reeves has got a stop and go penalty. We've just had on our timing monitor, Tim and Tris Reeves have a stop and go. So you would normally say that that was for a jump start, but it didn't tell us that. Maybe it's got something to do with the off that we saw and the race control imposing a penalty on Tim and Tris Reeves. Yeah, and that is a big stop and go penalties. It gives you lots and lots of... There's Steve Webster now moving up into 6th place past Bill Phil. Yeah, Webster rolling through now. Everything's warm on the machine. Tyres warm, and the clutch hasn't got a problem, as we see. Acceleration, not a problem for Steve Webster. So I would say he is on for the championship if there's no problems later in the race. Looks like I might have to eat my words there, Rob, because I was convinced that Steve Webster did have a problem, but looking at the gap now, there's no problem there. Well, it wouldn't be the first time, would it, Norman? Thanks, Rob. So Steve Webster controlling the machine very, very well up the hill, The power of that Suzuki just getting put down, not excessively, no big black lines from Webster yet, as we've seen a few times this year. He hasn't hit anyone like he hit Steve Abbott at Assen, so Steve Webster well in control.
Gentleman racer, Steve Webster.
Okay, and there's the Van Gils duo, number 7, sitting there in 3rd place. Martin does tend to get a bit of a red mist under the visor when he gets in a position around about the podium, but he seems to be fairly well controlled at the moment. The front end of that machine seems to be sticking well to the road, but he has got Hanks behind him. Tom Hanks and Phil Biggs in 4th place. Yeah,
he'll be reading his pit board and he'll know that Tom Hanks is just behind him. And as you say, he does sometimes get the red mist, and maybe if Tom puts a little bit of pressure on him, that could be the downfall for Tony Van Gils.
So Tom Hanks, the thinking man sidecar racer after Mazzano this year. We're getting back to that again. Tom is very, very serious about his racing. He's got the great package from Houghton Fabrications, and he is looking for the title next year. Here's a replay of Hanks and Biggs. Phil Biggs just sliding over, getting the handhold, the flame coming out of the exhaust. Phil Biggs not worrying about that, just slides his hand into the handhold down there and goes through the right-hander.
Again, looks very spectacular, but not a problem, as you can see there. What it actually is just the ignition on the engine. He's using the burning the fuel actually in the exhaust system as he's actually using it half throttle, and it looks very dramatic, but nothing to worry about.
Hanks and Biggs through that long left-hander. Very, very spectacular in qualifying, with Tom sitting Phil about a foot off the air through that long left-hander, 180 degrees.
Yeah, Tom's got Van Gils in his sight now, and he'll be putting that, look at the machine there sideways. Tom going back to his old Formula 2 days. Oh, and the Van Gils and all, he was putting it sideways.
Did you say red mist before? I think Martin Van Gils might have seen his pit board last time, seen that gap closing a little, and yeah, I think we might see a few more fireworks.
Yeah, Tom Hanks going back to his past, his Formula 2 experience. He's look at him throwing the machine through the right on there. And yeah, he's, I would say Tom has now got his sights on Van Gils.
So we'll check the distance over the finish line. 1 second now. So it's down to 1 second for Tom Hanks in the chase for Martin Van Gils.
Best lap of a 1:47.6 for Jörg Steinhausen. That'll be a lap record, by the way, Rob.
And Tim and Trish Reeves are in pit lane, so the M&M entry is out. I can see them down below us there, and I don't think Tim Reeves is too happy about what's going on.
No, well, what we used to do in the old days was send Ian Guy down to the pit lane, and he'd ask the questions, but Ian is actually out in this race, so we've lost a commentator to the sidecar race.
Weren't we going to put a microphone in Ian Guy's helmet and cross to him during the race?
Yeah, it'd be good idea.
Well, Ian Guy, we can't see him on our timing monitor there. He's got a new machine for the weekend. Didn't have enough time to go testing. He qualified, which he was extremely happy with, and he's out in the race.
There's the future world champion, Steve Webster, chasing Steve Abbott, the ex-world champion.
Well, he's world champion for another 12 laps, I'd say, and then I think Steve Abbott will gladly hand over the crown to his mate, Steve Webster.
Lot of pressure maintaining the World Championship, and Steve Abbott coming back with a new chassis and a new machine. He's had a pretty tough season.
It has been a tough season for Ab, going from the Windle to the LCR, going from Yamaha to Suzuki, staying with Yokohama tyres though.
Yeah, massive step though, Rob.
Here we are into the last hairpin, the top of the circuit, and then the drag down the hill. This is the change part of Magny Cours. There used to be a chicane halfway down this hill. Now it goes deep into this long corner. Very, very hard under brakes, and the chicane is now after this right-hand turn. Steve Webster backed off there. I think he's being very, very gentle.
He's a gentleman racer this weekend. He's thinking about the World Championship. He's 1 point to get, and to Steve Webster 1 point, I wouldn't think is a problem.
I'm not sure the last time he finished off the podium when he finished. I think it would go back a year or two, apart from Mazzano this year. Okay, the memory failing me here. Steve Webster, 4th place in Mazzano this year, but that would be one of the rarities in his long career.
Another rather special fact about Steve Webster is the amount of super pole or pole positions that he's had. He's had about 28, I think it is, Rob.
So close, Norman. 27 in a row. That's dating back for nearly 3 years. Phillip Island, in 2001 was the last time someone else held the Super Pole. That was a wet session, and that was Jörg Steinhausen.
Yeah, 27, did you say, Rob? 27 on the trot, pole positions. I mean, it goes without saying.
He is the qualifying master. Hanks now catching up to Van Gils there. That's the battle for third place, the final rostrum position.
Speed of Steve Webster now in sixth place, 249, as opposed to about 238 from Steinhausen and 241 from Cloughy.
So Steve Webster definitely getting the power down and definitely being able to get some top speed out of that Castrol Suzuki. Tom Hanks and Martin Van Gils going head to head here. I'm just wondering where Tom Hanks is going to get him. He had a good look at this circuit over 3 or 4 days for the French Championship. Had a good chance to take some different lines around corners, practice where he's going to overtake people. But Martin Van Gils was telling me at Imola that he only needs 5 laps to learn a new circuit, and after 5 laps he's on the pace.
He doesn't look like he's doing too bad there, Rob, on his 5 laps that he requires to learn the circuit. But lap 8 of 18, I think we'll see a move from Tom Hanks about maybe lap 10.
Well, this does remind me of his Mazzano race where he hung back behind Martin Van Gils. He said it hurt him to hang back and sit there and wait and wait and wait in those hot conditions, trying not to burn up the tyres. But then when he went past, he was amazed how fast he could go.
He's moving past Van Gils now. Yeah, Hanks has made his move and he's through. That puts Tom Hanks now into third place with Van Gils fourth. But look at the smoke off the back tyre there, Rob.
Martin Van Gils, there was the red mist coming out in true demonstration, smoking the rear tyre out of the Adelaide hairpin.
Not the wisest thing in the world. Look at him going to make his move now. A classic draft and pass move.
Draft and pass from Norman Burgess, so called. Okay, into the hairpin. You see, he's got the position on the track, and Martin Van Gils actually has to tap the brakes on the way into that corner just to make sure he doesn't run up the back of Tom Hanks and Phil Biggs.
Yeah, Tommy's now putting a gap in, and maybe he's now chasing Klaffenbach.
So there's a few seconds for him to catch on Klaffenbach if he's going to do it for second place. But look at the attitude of the machine. The front end of that bike was chattering into the corner. That's the front wheel bouncing up and down as it tried to contend with very little bumps around this Magny Cours circuit. Yeah,
just over 1.5 seconds between Hanks and Klaffenbach, and it was 2 seconds between the Van Gils, sorry, and
Klaffenbach seems to have slowed a fair bit there, although we have got the chicane to go before we get our last spot of the timing. So Klaffenbach goes ahead 0.8 of a second in front of Hanks, who is a further 0.6 of a second in front of Van Gils. So it's all coming down to the battle for second place.
Lap 10 of 18, Rob, and it's Steinhausen, Klaffenbach at the moment. Hanks, Van Gils, Abbott, Webster, Phil, Dernicourt, Rocher and Minguet.
So the French team there, Minguet in 10th place, catching up to the French wildcards 2 places in front of him. Minguet, huge effort this weekend. He's got the whole team here, the hospitality, all of his sponsors, and yeah, the French team, Minguet, having a great weekend so far, 10th place.
This is going to be a battle for second place because Jörg Steinhausen has cleared off, but Cloughy, Hanks and Van Gils are now all in the running for second place, and I'm sure that Cloughy will not want to give his second place up because he'll still have it in his mind that he could be world champion.
Look at Tom Hanks on the brakes. He's so fast into that right-hand, left-hand chicane and into that left-hand. He's right on the back of Klaffenbach now. So Tom Hanks definitely going to put a move on Klaffenbach within the end of this lap, I'd say.
Yeah, Tom Hanks will now be revving that R1 engine.
And there it is, has a look up the inside into the chicane, can't do it. He'll be looking for a slingshot out of here and getting Klaffenbach in, under brakes into the hairpin. Will we see him come through? No. So Klaffenbach holds out Hanks again. Hanks will have to just regroup here and get another run on him.
That'll be the widest outfit on the circuit at the moment, Rob.
Klaffenbach, of course, 2001 champion, and has had a fairly good season this year. A lot of rostrum places, but just cannot get the wins together to beat Webster.
No, he's been very consistent, but Steve Webster's been putting these wins together, and he's really got that Suzuki outfit going now. He doesn't look to be doing anything at the moment in 6th place, but Steve Webster will know exactly what position he's in and what he has to do.
Well, he's running 3 seconds off his qualifying time. I don't think we've ever seen him do that in the race in the last 2 years. Normally he comes out and he can almost better his qualifying time midway through the race. So Steve Webster, yes, under orders, I'd say.
Yeah, his father will be watching him now, and he'll be getting the pit signals. There he is, number 4, Steve Webster, in 6th place, still running the top speed, Rob, at 249k.
That is a fair advantage he's got there on top speed. He's at least 5 or 6 kilometres an hour faster than anyone. I think Abbott, 241, is the quickest apart from him, so 8 kilometres an hour down the straight quicker. Fair advantage.
Yeah, and that is also telling me that Steve...
Oh, Hanks, a big move into the 180-degree left. That's a great move from Hanks, just shoving the nose in under Claffey. Claffey had to move out. What a fantastic move.
That was an unbelievable move there, a very brave move from Tom Hanks, and didn't give Klaus Klaffenbach much room to manoeuvre in.
Here's the replay. You can see Klaus is on the wide line that gives him the speed through the corner, but Hanks is just doing a bit of lawn mowing there with Phil Biggs, the passenger, and Phil might have had a bit of a concerned look on his face there as he went through there under the control of Tom Hanks.
Yeah, very brave move there, and it was all or nothing.
Yes, definitely all or nothing, and it came to all for Tom Hanks. Klaus Klaffenbach definitely charging, definitely doesn't want to be held away, because of course if Steiny has a technical problem, Klaffenbach can still win the race.
Oh yeah, he'll know all the permutations on this one, but he had no choice there. Tom Hanks was coming through one way or the other.
And it looks like Martin Van Gils as well. Here we go. See Martin Van Gils, Tony Van Gils, just charging up, surging through on Klaus Klaffenbach, but not able to take him through this fairly tight left-hand keep and right-hand bowl.
Yeah, the Austrian general will not like this one.
So the back straight, Klaus Klaffenbach has got a very fast Yamaha under that LCR chassis, but I think Tom Hanks is pretty quick as well. Also running the R1, but a Windle chassis. Claffey can't put the move on though. Oh, he looked to have a move at the end of under brakes, but back markers almost coming into play there. That's Barry and Jane Fleury, but I think Tom Hanks will put them in between, and he has done, and that will work to his advantage.
Yeah, what he had to do there, he went in under, there he goes now, Rob. He's coming in under severe braking there, and he had actually to let his brakes off to get control of the machine again, or he would have been off there.
Yeah, very exciting race here for second place. Hanks, Klaffenbach, Van Gils. And Van Gils right on the back of Klaffenbach there. And Steve Abbott has joined the party as well. So Steve Abbott and Jamie Biggs right on the back of Van Gils. Yeah,
the wily Derbyshire Fox is at it again. He's been saving his tyres, and lap 12 of 18. We maybe see some action from the defending world champion. Made a move there on the Van Gils.
So great move from the defending champions, Abbott and Biggs, moving through on Martin and Tony Van Gils. And I'd say with the speed they're carrying, they'll just go straight through on Klaffenbach and Partzer as well.
Yeah, he's looking at Tom Hanks now at Klaffenbach, yes, and sorry about that, Rob, yeah. And the Van Gils are actually getting a toe off Abbott, but not for long, I don't think, because look at the power of the Abbott Suzuki now as he leaves the sharp left-hander.
Here's a replay of that move. Klaffenbach into the corner first, Van Gils in second, and suddenly Steve Abbott comes through a very, very tight line on the brakes, and he covers his exit. We just missed that on the replay, but he also covered his exit to stop Martin Van Gils coming right back at him. Yeah,
that's the experience of Abbott. He knows when to have a wide outfit and a narrow outfit, and you saw both aspects of it there. A very narrow one to get through and a very wide one to get out.
And now looks like he's put a move on Klaffenbach down the straight. Abbott and Biggs charging through. So Steve Abbott up to fourth now. Sorry, moving through to third there and smoking it out of the corner.
Yeah, that was just strictly a power move there, just a top speed move. Didn't draft him, just literally dragged him out the corner.
So Abbott's Suzuki faster than Klaffenbach's R1 on that time. Abbott with a 242 lap faster speed, and there it was that time round.
Still 7 kilometres per hour slower than Steve Webster, who's by Steve Webster's standards cruising round at the moment.
Yeah, Steve Webster in 6th place, 150.3 his last lap time, 22 seconds behind the leader, but still pulling a top speed of 249. Tony Van Gils there again with the arm flying out. I think it must be his style or something like that, but oh, and Tom Hanks is off. Tom Hanks off and possibly out of the race on the inside on the grass. No, They've rejoined. We'll check what happens. Hopefully we get a replay of what happened, because I'd say it would be fairly spectacular with Tom Hanks.
Yeah, well spotted there, Rob. I didn't actually see that, but that now puts Abbott up into 3rd place. So it's Steinhausen, Klaffenbach, Abbott 2nd now.
Yes, Tom Hanks going off the track leaves Abbott into 2nd, so Abbott has charged from 6th place earlier on up to 2nd place, and another rostrum for Abbott. What a great way for him to finish his season.
Yeah, 14 of the 18 laps gone, Rob, and there we've got Steve Webster still taking it reasonably easy for Steve Webster, and Steve Webster's standards in 6th place.
So the future world champions, if they maintain this pace, Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead just rolling around, 150.5 that time, so another consistent lap. The main action in the pack is for 2nd place, and look at Martin Van Gils. He doesn't care about that back tyre. Look at the smoke coming off it. And there it is. There is a problem with the Houghton Fabrications outfit. Tom Hanks and Phil Biggs are in a gravel trap somewhere. I think that is the bottom of the hill. We can't see it from our commentary position, but I think that's just before the end of the lap.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's bottom of the hill there, and I think that's going to be an engine problem, because Tom has been putting that R1 through hell, I would say, during this race.
I've never lent him my car.
No, I don't think I'd lend him mine, Rob. But now, as it's going along the race now, with 14 of the 18 laps gone, Steinhausen, Abbott, Klaffenbach, Van Gils, Webster, Phil, Dernancourt, Rocher and Gatt.
So British champions now in 10th place. Richard Gatt and Paul Randall have passed through Menge. Doppler wildcards from Austria in 12th. Cameron back in the race, 13th place after his machine again caught fire in the final qualifying. How about that for Cameron?
Yeah, a bit of a problem with his exhaust system, I think. He actually broke a bracket and it dropped onto the under tray, and the under tray caught on fire, and yeah, he had a bit of a problem. But what a mess by the fire control people.
Yes, they like putting the flames out fairly well here. Get back to our leaders, Steinhausen and Hopkinson. This is Steiny at his best. He's consistent. This is like Imola. He's just putting the machine in the same place on the track every lap round. Trevor Hopkinson moving in the same way every lap, doing very consistent laps in the mid 50s.
Rob, dare I say that Abbott put in a 148 there against Steinhausen's 150, and he's 10 seconds off him now. Dare I think that Abbott maybe would be chasing Steinhausen?
I think only you would dare that, and I'd say with only a few laps to go here, Steinhausen has things well in hand. Father Rolf would be on pit wall instructing the pit board, and there would be no chance that Abbott could catch Steinhausen unaware.
We'll see, Rob, anyway, but there we've got it. Steinhausen, Abbott chasing him with a 10-second gap with 3 laps to go. Maybe I am wishing great things for Abbott, but it's Steinhausen, Abbott and Klaffenbach.
Listen to the exhaust of Steinhausen's bike, just getting a bit of a grumble on into the turn. Accelerating down the hill. And that is the Steinhausen Suzuki, just working nicely, not overly stressed at this stage. Jürgen could probably be short shifting by this time in the race. Yeah,
I'm sure he'll be short shifting, and yeah, be keeping that engine well within the rev limits, and short shifting all the way around the circuit. Something flapping on underneath the outfit there. I'm not looking at problems for York, but there's something definitely showing underneath the outfit, but he's still maintaining his gap from Steve Abbott of about 10 seconds.
So it looks like the battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th has just spaced out a bit. There we see Van Gils in 4th place, 1.5 seconds down on Klaffenbach now. Oh, and you can see why. Look at the rear tyre of Van Gils' machine. It's blistered badly. Oh, and you can see it's smoking there. That is a badly blistered rear tyre. He's abused it.
Yeah, well, he's absolutely right. That is the term. He has abused the tyre. He put all the work into the earlier laps, and this is the price that you're going to have to pay. The back tyre, as we said earlier, will cause problems under these conditions.
So we did predict it. I don't mean to say I'm right, but we did predict that. Oh, look at the smoke. We did predict that Van Gils was abusing his rear tyre, and this is the only result of spinning the rear tyre all race.
Yeah, with 2 laps to go now, Robert, I would think he'll finish. Badly blistering, he'll lose a lot of drive. But yeah, if he thinks about it, and I'm sure he's aware that he's got a back tyre problem, he'll be able to nurse the plot home.
Let's have a replay of Van Gils. Look at the lines down the middle of the tyre there, and the smoke just pouring off it as he puts that Suzuki 1000cc through the rev range, spinning that rear.
Be a lot of temperature in that tyre now, Rob.
Well, the blistering does occur when you get tyre temperatures over about 110 degrees Celsius. So the rubber has literally boiled on the carcass of the tyre.
Yeah, but he's not slowing down. He's still chasing Klaffenbach, and I don't think he realises that he has got a problem.
Apart from the lack of traction, but the credit is to Yokohama tyre technicians, because this tyre is absolutely ruined, and yet it stays on the rim. Tony Van Gils may not stay in the machine, but the tyre stays on the rim quite nicely.
He frightens me to death there, Rob. I mean, it's obviously something that he does, but it's pretty scary.
So we're on to the final lap now. Martin and Tony Van Gils have had an exciting race. It looks to be pretty exciting still. Jörg Steinhausen, Trevor Hopkinson out in front. Steve Abbott, 8 seconds, nearly 9 seconds behind. Klaus Klaffenbach in third. Not enough for him to wrench the title from Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead, who are rolling around in 5th place now with the demise of Hanks and Biggs.
Yeah, he'll be happy with 5th place. Not only 5th place, but the World Championship as well.
Another smoking session from Van Gils. They love it.
Yeah, he looks very spectacular. It is spectacular. It'll be riding like riding the machine round on a big lump of butter.
Looks like a good race win here for Jörg Steinhausen, Trevor Hopkinson. They've done everything right. They passed Klaffenbach early and kept away from the trouble that then ensued in the battle for 2nd place. And Steiny's just done it by the textbook, as Father Rolf would have wanted to see it.
Yeah, he's done well there, Jörg, and he's kept his head, his young head about him, and still putting 149 laps in, so he's still going pretty quick.
Just catching up to Dan Morrissey and Darren Harper there, and looks like he'll sit behind them and take the win. Let them do one more lap.
Yeah, 8 seconds in the lead. He's not going to do anything dramatic at this stage.
Well, here it is, just getting out there, and the checkered flag to Jörg Steinhausen and Trevor Hopkinson.
Yeah, good win there for Jörg Steinhausen. The young German gun has done very well, and I think we're going to see a lot more of Jörg Steinhausen. He's patting the machine, he's happy with everything.
But it looks like the World Championship has only 2 corners to be decided, and it will most likely, you'd have to say that by now, it will go to Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead. And waving to the crowd with a corner to go. I wouldn't do that, Steve, but the new world champions, Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead.
Well deserved, a good ride in 5th place, because Steve Webster's obviously very experienced, 9 times world champion, and he's ridden this race how you would expect a man with 1 point to get from this particular race.
Well, no one expected Steve Webster to sit back. I don't know where that plan came from. Normally Steve Webster would still go out and win the race, but he did say at Imola that he's seen Rolf Bieland lose the championship by with a 1 point deficit like he had.
Yeah, that was at Silverstone, Rob, I believe, and yeah, he'd won 1 point to get out the championship after that particular race, and he actually didn't complete the race.
So there it is, the 9th title for Steve Webster and the 2nd for Paul Woodhead as his passenger. 2000 was the last time they won the championship, and Paul Woodhead has been waiting for another one ever since. But the race win goes to the German-English combination of Jörg Steinhausen and Trevor Hopkinson. The Suzuki LCR performing very well here at Magny Cours. They spend a lot of time on their suspension. In fact, they spend a lot of time just on the rolling friction of their wheels, making sure the brakes aren't on too tight. Attention to detail is what Jörg Steinhausen is all about. Yeah,
and I think what we'll actually do in not too far the distant future, we'll see Jörg Steinhausen becoming world champion.
Will it be next year?
Well, he's full of confidence, Rob, and this victory today will help the cause.
We've had this discussion before about Tom Hanks and Jörg Steinhausen, and I'm just trying to remember which way you went about who will win the first World Championship out of the 2.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me on that, Rob. But I'm now predicting that Steinhausen is going to be he's going to be a front runner in years to come now, because not only is he young, but he's got lots of experience now.
Experience, talent. He's got the genes for it with Father Rolf, of course. winning 2 titles, 75, 76.
Yeah, Father Rolf watches over Jorg very closely, a very exceptional advisor to his son, looks after the machine also, and yeah, he's got everything going for him as Jorg Steinhausen.
Klaus Klaffenbach and Christian Partzer could have won the title today, the only team that could have, apart from Steve Webster. And they've made a valiant effort, but third place for them, not enough.
Look at there, the Steinhausens, it's a very much a family affair, brothers, fathers, everybody's there in the team, and yeah, when Jorg comes up with the results, it's a result for everybody in the team.
Yes, brother Mike there just showing his jubilation at the win.
Don't know where Father is yet, but we'll soon see the ex-world champion Rolf, and he'll be there to congratulate his son. But there, the new world champion, number 4, Steve Webster with the Castro Suzuki.
Just coming around to that final grandstand, and that's where the fans are going to be, so listen for the reception. Andy Peach there getting out of the gravel trap and sprinkling the track with gravel there. But Andy Peach, a bad race for him, finishing at the first corner. Totally different for these guys. The new world champions coming into Parc Fermé to receive the congratulations of the team.
Good to see that the World Championship has only been won at the last round, Rob. Good result. Good for the large crowd that have stopped behind to very keen fans, you know, the French.
That's 2 years in a row, just showing the level of competition in this championship. Jack Muldoon there, just giving Steve Webster a bit of a kiss.
Yeah, the wily Scotsman, you mean? Yeah, I'd be careful about that if I were you, Steve Webster.
And a bit of a demonstration. They didn't get to race, they did a corner, but Andy Peach and Rick Lawrence there showing how to do things a little bit upside down.
A little bit strange there, but he does this every time, and very amusing, and tells me it's very safe as well. I don't believe that, Rob.
Well, the rude people among us would say that Andy Peach has been over on the roof a couple of times this year, and he's just preparing himself for that.
Yeah, and he's had a tough season as well, and yes, he does spend a little bit of time on the roof, but there you've got the standings, Rob.
Steve Webster with 6 wins, 197 points. What a dominating win for the year, just on the number of wins. Klaus Klaffenbach and Christian Partzer from Austria, 1 win, 178 points. Steinhausen's completed the year with 3 wins. What a great result for him. 161 points. Abbott defending the title with no wins is not the way to defend the title.
Only 2 men have won any races this year. That's Webster and Steinhausen, and yeah, they've done very well.
Yes, and Klaffenbach there. Van Gils 5th in the championship, 101 points. Hank's down to 6th. He won't be very happy about that. Bill Philp, while rookie this year, 7th place. That's great for his first year as a permanent team. British champions for last year, Richard Gatt, Paul Randall, 9th on 50 points.
Good result and all for the Flying Scots. Jock Skeen in 10th place.
So the podium here at Magny Cours, just opposite this giant grandstand with a lot of fans sitting in it, ready to congratulate not only the race winners but also the world champions for 2003. And there we go, some of the teams in pit lane. That'll be the T-shirts for the winners. The winning team, Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead, champions in 2003, through a lot of hard work and dedication. So just waiting for the podium to be arranged. What's been the highlight of this year for you, Norman?
So many highlights, Rob, and I think with Steve Webster coming back and winning so many races has been a real highlight. He's won 6 races this year, and every one of them has been spectacular. There's been some action throughout this series. I mean, there's lots of ups and downs, but yeah, it's been a great series.
I think Assen was one of my highlights. Seeing Steve Abbott, 2 races, 2 wins, that's got to be good. And third place, 2001 champions, Klaus Klaffenbach and Christian Partzer. Second place just coming up slowly.
The Silver Fox, the wily Silver Fox, Steve Abbott and Jamie Biggs, the Derbyshire stroke Chester crew.
Steve Abbott not wanting to rush the final podium for the year, just ambling out there. he'll be smiling again soon with the champagne.
And there's the winners, Jörg Steinhausen and Trevor Hopkinson. Well done, boys.
Another great win. That's 3 for the year. And Mazzano, a really strong win for them. Not as strong as Imola. That was total domination from them over Webster. And here today, they've just gone out and obliterated everyone again. So every time Steinhausen's won this year, it's been a very strong performance.
Yeah, I hope Steve Abbott saves a little bit of champagne for me on this one, because we'll see Jörg and Klaus, they'll shake the champagne and spread it around, but you watch the wily Derbyshire Fox, he'll serve his champagne.
So the presentation's underway. Jamie Biggs with a huge bunch of flowers there. I'm sure he'll be taking them back to the tent to share around.
Yeah, they'll look nice on the on the table, in the jar, amongst the beer bottles and everything else. I'm sure there'll be a party tonight.
Well, end of season, everyone will be looking forward to catching up. This is the thing about sidecar racing. It's a big community. The guys will all get together, share a few beers, discuss who did what and how someone passed someone else, and it'll be a bit of a chat later on tonight, maybe a cup of coffee or two.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit of coffee, but a lot of pressure over the season, and yeah, they will probably let go and have a couple of beers tonight, and maybe an odd glass of wine, and they'll enjoy it this evening, I'm sure.
So now the presentation for the 2003 World Champions, Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead, taking the cheers from the crowd and congratulating the podium in gentlemanly fashion. 9
times world champion. It just makes you wonder, the motivation that this man has to win races is immense, and to win 9 world titles, it's unbelievable, undescribable, the effort that this man has put in to being 9 times world champion.
More than 50 race wins in his career. 27 times in a row on pole, in a row, not just 20 times in his career. And they are smiling, the boys there. Paul Woodhead with a really big grin on his face.
The man's becoming a legend, Rob.
So the national anthem there going on for a very, very long time, and Jörg Steinhausen enjoying it all.
Yeah, they enjoyed every minute of that. And maybe the national anthem will be played for Steve Webster, maybe not.
And I think that was the call for the champagne, so the cameraman ducked out the way. Did Steve Webster get any?
Steve Webster, Steve Abbott has lost all control there. He's actually shaking it and spraying it into the crowd. That is unbelievable. That is probably the highlight of my season.
So Steve Webster drinking from the championship cup. Paul Woodhead. Oh, geez, I've never seen him go that long on a drink.
Must be a great feeling, Rob. 9 times world champion, to be drinking yet again champagne out the World Championship winning bowl.
So Klaus Klaffenbach doesn't look too subdued there. I think he's had a great race, but wasn't quite able to do it. It was an almost impossible task for him today.
Yeah, the Austrian general will have took it in his stride, and he'll have absolutely wished that everything had gone according to plan, but he knew that Steve Webster would have a reliable plot out there, and now Steve Webster's machine goes into Tim Reeves' transporter. Tim Reeves has bought that, and obviously Steve Webster will be buying a new one.
Yes, actually the hot rumour is that he's going to see Louis Christian at LCR in Switzerland on Monday and pick up the new bike for next year, just to go testing, sort everything out, and finish off another championship, 10 in a row. Sorry, not 10 in a row, 10 in a lifetime.
Yeah, he still enjoys his racing seriously, does Steve Webster. And every time I ask him, when are you going to retire, Steve? He just says to me, why retire? I'm still enjoying it.
Still enjoying it, still winning races, still the fastest in qualifying for the last 3 years.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Here's the race as we saw it. Very slow start for Webster. He was surrounded off the line. Bit of a first lap incident, but Klaffenbach and Steinhausen got through that. Steinhausen definitely smoking the brakes early, and a bit of a shock look in pit lane. Steve Webster in 10th position, and look at the way that Steinhausen passed Klaffenbach, just smoking up those wheels under brakes. Martin and Tony Van Gils were in 3rd and 4th place there, battling away, but Steinhausen managed to get away. Hanks came through after that. But Martin and Tony Van Gils held him off for a little while, but Hanks, very, very aggressive, very, very fast, cleaned up Van Gils, and then went after Klaffenbach.
Yeah, this is the problem with Tony Van Gel and his rear tyre. You can see the effort that he's putting into it.
And Tony there with a hand off the bars, not the best way to passenger, but he managed to stay on. Hanks then aggressively passed Klaffenbach on the inside, just narrowly missing Christian Partzer. Claffey fought back, but he couldn't quite get Hanks back until Hanks suffered the problem later in the race. Look at the style of those machines as they go through corner. Abbott joined the fray, chasing through to second place in the end, but Webster just sat there. Oh, bad luck. That's Hanks and Phil Biggs just burying it in the gravel trap.
I think the R1 finally expired on that one.
So Van Gils, very spectacular, but their rear tyre was gone. Was that Mick Webster for the championship or Rolf Steinhausen for the race win?
I think it was Rolf Steinhausen.
And Mike, brother of Bjerg there on the pit wall and loving it for the race win. Rolf Steinhausen with big smiles. Let's go down to the top 3 interviews.
Christian Partzer, 3rd place, congratulations. It looked like you had a bumpy ride though through those chicanes.
Ja, in der Schikanen war es ein bisschen arg abgekürzt, der Glas, aber so zum Ganzen bin ich zufrieden. Vize-Weltmeister ist auch schön.
And in English?
Oh, 2nd place is very nice for me.
3rd it was.
In the World Championship.
Oh, no, sorry, in the World Championship. Klaus Klaffenbach, 3rd place today, 2nd in the World Championship, and you started the race like you were going to do what was needed today and win.
Yeah, I tried, but it was too hard for me today. The other one was faster, much faster. But as Christian said, we are happy with the 2nd place. It was one of the most difficult seasons in our career. So maybe we come back next year, maybe.
Okay, well, congratulations on 3rd today and 2nd in the championship. Steve Abbott, almost a surprise runner-up today. Everything was going on in front of you. Tell us a little bit about the race.
Yeah, well, I got my usual start, like 5th or 6th, and they started to go away from me. Not much I could do about it early on in the race, and whether they slowed and I speeded up, or I speeded up, I don't know, but we just pulled them back one at a time, and well, 2nd place, yeah, I'm happy with that.
Congratulations on the runner-up. Jamie, the race for you, any moments for you?
No, not really. It was a bit tricky through the chicanes and that, and we had quite a bad start, as Steve said, and it took a bit of catching up, but in the end it was a good race, and I really enjoyed it, yeah.
And a nice way to end the season.
Yeah, excellent, back on rostrum, yeah.
Congratulations on that. Today's winner, Jörg Steinhausen, 2 wins in a row now for you. Tell us a little bit about the race.
Race was quite good, quite easy. Had a bad start, stuck behind Claffey and could make a pass after 1 lap. And after that we just tried to find our rhythm, which happened quite good, and no problems in the race at all. And I'm quite happy and very pleased for the team with that finish at the end of the season.
Well, congratulations on the win today. And Trevor Hopkinson, the race for you, no problems at all?
I made one silly mistake. Shouldn't have done it, but otherwise, good ride. Jörg didn't really put a foot out of place.
Well done on that, and congratulations on the win here at Magny Cours. And the new world champions, Steve Webster, I think you 10 pole positions out of for 10 races anyway this year, so 100% record there, but you didn't really make the most of your pole position, did you?
No, the plan today, plan A was to get a good start and try to clear off, and that didn't happen. So plan B came into action, which was to get some points. And
concentrate obviously on winning the world title.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. I mean, it's the main thing for us was to win the title, and probably nerves or whatever today played its part, so we're just happy for the team, happy for Suzuki, Castrol, all our backers that managed to pull it off, so it's good.
Brilliant, well done on that. Paul, it looked like an autumn ride in Sunday afternoon, Saturday evening ride even for you.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day that was the best thing to do. Like Steve said, plan A was to try and get a good start and clear off, but that didn't happen. Didn't really fancy getting tangled up with people, so it was the best thing to do, just to settle down and make sure we finish in the top sort of 15, and that's what we did. So.
Well, congratulations, a 2nd world title for you, a 9th world title for Steve Webster, all here in Magny Cours. Congratulations.
Thanks, Chris, for those interviews. And there were a few issues there with Klaus Klaffenbach and Christian Partzer with the numbers, but I'm sure Chris will get over them in the next few hours. Steinhausen, Hopkinson with the race win. Steve Abbott, Jamie Biggs coming through for second, 7 seconds down. Klaus Klaffenbach, Christian Partzer, 12 seconds further back. Martin and Tony Van Gils finished on that destroyed rear tyre. Webster and Woodhead won the championship with only 5th place. From Philp and Yendel there in 6th. Wildcards, Dernancourt in 7th. Rosher and Harney coming back to finish 8th. That's a great result for them. And Rob Cameron and Mark Cox in 12th place after the machine caught fire earlier in the day. They've repaired everything, come back out for 12th place. So it's been a great race here with a lot of people finishing the race. This is great. We had 25 starters and 20 finished the race. That's consistency, reliability, and just great control from these drivers. So the championship standings, Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead from England, 197 points and 6 wins. That is domination for the series for 2003. Klaus Klaffenbach couldn't quite do it today, 1 win, and Steiny with 3 wins. So Magny Cours, the sun's starting to set now. We've got a great bit of action from the race today. Was just fantastic. Here's Klaus Klaffenbach and Christian Partzer. Watch Christian over the back of the machine. He's hard at work there, even though it looks like he's just lying there. Steve Abbott and Jamie Biggs. Jamie, you can hardly see him down the straight. In the background, Steinhausen and Hopkinson coming around to take the checkered flag there, just behind Dan Morrissey and Darren Harper. And Steinhausen and Hopkinson, very well deserved win for them for their 3rd of the season. But everything has to be said about Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead. Their 9th title for, well, Steve Webster's 9th title, Paul Woodhead's 2nd title, and what a great way to finish.
I've got to say, Rob, with all the racing and the excitement that's gone on this year, got to say congratulations to every single competitor because it's been a tremendous season of racing and action. And there we've got number 4, the new world champion, Steve Webster.
So Steve Webster and Paul Woodhead, the 2003 champions. And I'd like to thank Chris Herring for the interviews. Norman Burgess, you've been great all year. I'm Rob Marder. We'll see you in 2004.